Traditional astrology refers to the 12th house as the house of self-undoing, but that doesn't mean it's inherently negative. Think of it as your soul's private sanctuary, where the conscious mind takes a backseat and the subconscious drives the car. This house represents everything that exists beyond the veil of ordinary awareness. In ancient astrological texts, the 12th house was known as the house of enemies, but these weren't just external foes. The real enemies here are the internal ones, the self-sabotaging patterns and unconscious behaviors that trip us up when we least expect it. It's where we store our psychological baggage, our unprocessed emotions, and the parts of ourselves we'd rather not acknowledge. Pisces naturally rules this house, bringing its dreamy, intuitive, and sometimes escapist energy. Neptune, the planet of illusion and spirituality, feels right at home here. This combination creates a space where reality becomes fluid, where dreams and waking life blur together, and where the rational mind struggles to maintain its grip. The 12th house governs institutions like hospitals, prisons, monasteries, and mental health facilities. These are places where people retreat from ordinary society, either by choice or necessity. It's about isolation, confinement, and sometimes healing. When you're dealing with 12th house energy, you're often working behind the scenes, away from public recognition. Spirituality thrives in the 12th house, but it's not the kind you'll find in organized religion. This is mystical, personal spirituality that comes through direct experience rather than doctrine. Meditation, prayer, and other contemplative practices open the 12th house doorway. It's where you connect with something larger than yourself, whether you call it God, the universe, or collective consciousness. When planets occupy your 12th house, they operate differently than they would elsewhere in your chart. Their energy becomes more subtle, more internal, sometimes more difficult to access consciously. A 12th house sun might indicate someone who struggles with self-identity or who finds their true self through spiritual seeking. Mars in the 12th house could manifest as anger that's turned inward or as spiritual warrior energy. The 12th house also rules secrets, hidden enemies, and things that work against us from the shadows. But here's the twist that modern astrology sometimes misses. These hidden elements aren't always external. Often, we are our own hidden enemy, undermining our success through unconscious fears or self-defeating beliefs. Karma lives in the 12th house too. It's where we work through unfinished business from the past, whether you interpret that as past lives or simply unresolved psychological patterns. The 12th house asks us to release, to surrender, to let go of control and trust in a larger process. Sacrifice is another key theme here, but not the martyrdom kind that makes you resentful. True 12th house sacrifice is about voluntarily giving up something lesser to gain something greater. It's about serving others without needing recognition, about finding meaning through contribution rather than achievement. In predictive astrology, 12th house transits often bring periods of retreat, reflection, and sometimes temporary withdrawal from worldly concerns. These aren't necessarily difficult periods, though they can feel challenging if you're used to constant external stimulation. They're invitations to go inward, to listen to your inner voice, to pay attention to dreams and intuitive insights. The 12th house also governs feet in medical astrology, which makes symbolic sense. Feet carry us forward, but remain hidden in shoes, just as 12th house energy supports our journey while staying largely invisible. Problems with the 12th house often manifest as issues with boundaries, difficulty saying no, or getting lost in other people's problems. Understanding your 12th house helps you recognize when you're operating from unconscious patterns versus conscious choice. It reveals your blind spots, your hidden strengths, and your pathway to transcendence. This house whispers rather than shouts, so learning its language requires patience and inner listening. The 12th house ultimately teaches us that not everything needs to be seen, understood, or controlled. Sometimes the most profound growth happens in the dark, in the quiet spaces where ego steps aside and soul takes the lead.